I was never really impressed by zombies. It seems like writers or producers just sit down and think, what's a cheap, overused way to put our main characters under pressure? How can we have a generic brand of enemies that don't have to have any specific character design or development other than one theme to make them all part of the same group? How can we ensure that the audience is completely unsympathetic towards these enemies, so that when the main people kill them, the audience won't get offended? Nazis? Nah, they're all dead, and this is the present day. Let's just slap zombies in there and hope people buy it, because zombies are trendy these days, and you don't even have to give them any lines. Even before they were trendy, zombies just always bored the hell out of me. Just like pirates. They've been the exact same plot device in every movie they've ever been in. They're just not scary or fun. They're boring. A few movies involving this lazy plot device have been brilliant, not because of the zombies, but because of good writing and good main characters. Zombieland and Shaun of the Dead come to mind. Unless the movie's well written, I choose to avoid movies that use zombies as a lazy plot device. It's so transparent. Also, hordes of vampires and hordes of werewolves piss me off too. Whatever happened to having one ultimately creepy, scary, well-written vampire, or Dracula, or werewolf, who usually scares the characters and the audience much more thoroughly than a pack of generic zombies ever could? But I agree, tits are always welcome in a movie, and I've definitely forced myself to watch a few bad movies just because I knew there were going to be some boobs in them. We're wired to feel happy when we see them, well, guys and some girls, so seeing them makes us happy. There's nothing wrong with that, unless you've been perverted into being a prude. That's the real perversion, is being perverted away from sex. But I don't have the patience to force myself through a bad movie, even with boobs, just because it has this brand of the least interesting horde of trendy antagonists lazily slapped into the movie as if the writers just didn't have the ability to create any ideas on their own. I've never seen the Resident Evil movies though. They could be pretty fun, but I hear they are, I always hear that they're pretty terrible, and they also involve zombies, so that's two negatives against it, so I probably will never see them. And what's the big deal against Transformers and Transformers 2? First, just answer these questions. Did you go to the movie about giant transforming robots that bash the shit out of each other to see giant transforming robots bashing the shit out of each other? Yes? Did the movie deliver on that? Yes. Did you hope to see cool updated versions of classic Transformers? Yes. Did the movie include most of the known main characters? Yes. So what's everybody's anal problem? Sure, it has some horribly embarrassing to watch human-focused scenes, and 3 really annoying Transformers included to appeal to children or the mentally deficient, the Jar Jar effect. But I thought the fighting scenes and seeing the Transformers themselves interact and like Optimus and all that was enough of a payoff to make me enjoy the experience, even if I did have to shut down my brain just to enjoy the whole thing. But really, like, what is the problem? Same with the Indiana Jones Crystal Skull. Okay, the first movie they dealt with the Ark. The second movie they dealt with Hindu gods and evil Hindu cult, the Thuggee. And in the third one, in Last Crusade, again back to the Christian god with the Grail. What's so in a movie series that features a box that has magical powers to kill zombies, where guys can rip each other's hearts out and still be alive, where a cup of water can bring life back to a person and heal a bullet wound? What is suddenly so unbelievable about aliens being in the mix? Obviously, to anyone, you know, the Ark, the Grail, the Thuggee cult with the voodoo doll and the strange magic blood, and the Grail that holds the cup of eternal life is the cup of eternal life. All that stuff doesn't exist. It's just silly, hokey stuff, you know. Just, you know, like religion. It doesn't exist. It's people made it up. just because they needed answers, and part of the whole mythology that they tried to cling to and all that type of thing. How does the alien myth not fit in this? And it is a myth because, well, interdimensionally it's possible, I suppose. As humans, we only do see about that much of the universe, even with all our technology and machinery. And perhaps the rest of the universe does have other beings that exist in some other plane. That's a possibility. It's still just conjecture, but it's likely, possible, not likely, but it's not completely improbable, like a god or something would be, because it would still have to have evolved in its own realm, I suppose, if you were to believe in something like that. I don't know if I believe in multiple universes, but again, it's possible. We are only on one small radio frequency. But reason I say it's a myth, the aliens, is because this universe is huge. No living species that has at least developed on our planet has the ability to travel that long without dying. And you couldn't travel at light speed because we would die as well. And yeah, it's practically impossible for any alien from another planet to visit here because the spaces are just too vast. We don't know even how many of them have life like us. It's a likely possibility because there's so many planets and so many stars and so many galaxies, but it's still right now part of our cultural myth. It's just another one to add onto the Jewish, Hindu, and Christian myths. It's the millennium myth, whatever you want to call it. It's just that the myth of our age, that we want aliens, and there's still ghosts and all that type of stuff too. So what's so suddenly unbelievable about that compared to killing boxes and heart-ripping and grails of health, of healing power, and false grails of killing power? I just don't see what the big deal is, what everybody's so pissed off by. I know also Indiana Jones had a whole bunch of horribly embarrassing to watch human-focused scenes, and they completely ruined Marion's character. Or maybe it was just her, she wasn't acting the same way. But, you know, she's older, you can't really blame that entirely on her or the writers. But, yeah, I guess they both, Transformers and Indiana Jones and Crystal Skull, have the one common factor, the Shia LaBeouf factor, which sometimes is a plus and sometimes a minus. I can see how he's sometimes charming, but there are a lot of things about him that are just annoying. A lot of ways they write the stories just that don't make any sense. Obviously, these movies are popcorn flicks. If you were to pick apart every other Indiana Jones, I'm sure you'd find a whole bunch of really stupid things that could never happen or wouldn't happen in the situation. But people pick on this one more because it's new and it just came after Star Wars, and everyone knows how horrible at least the Phantom Menace was. I did enjoy Clones and Sith. Again, there's a lot of stuff you have to shut your brain down for, but they were enjoyable movies. As long as they were enjoyable, that's all I really need. And Indiana Jones, Crystal Skull, and the Transformers movies were enjoyable. They felt like Transformers, they felt like Indiana Jones, and and Star Wars movies did feel sort of like Star Wars, if you took away all the CGI. But yeah, I just don't know what all the big hate on these movies are. I understand that there are a lot of stupid things about them, but there's a lot of stupid things about most of the movies we cherish. So it's like pots and kettles and stones and glass houses. Like, where do you draw the line here? Do you think an ark full of magic powers is more believable than an alien ship transferring to another dimension? They're both pretty unbelievable. So what's the problem?